I'm looking at my Gucci. It's about that time. Ha ha. Yeah, it's about that time, folks. Real talk, real fathers, real men. We're gonna get it on. We're gonna talk about something that's gonna hit you like the 1st and the 15th. Something you can count on, like going to like that meal card the day before payday, the weekend before payday. Mess hall full of folk. You can't get to the mess hall that weekend before payday. Meal card line just packed to the rim with brim, cause you can go on and count on it. You can count on it like Santa Claus coming on Christmas, like the Easter Bunny coming on Easter. You can go on and count on it, folk. It's gonna happen, whether you like it or not. If you live long enough, you're gonna go through it. So if you see that old dude at the club,
take the right,
in his leisure suit, and he white Stacey Adams, and then got on a Kango, swear for God that he shot in the nail, you know what's going on. And the only thing you can do is just be like, man, I'm gonna be there soon, cuz. One day I'm gonna be there. One day I'm gonna be that dude, or one day I'm gonna be that woman. Because we all go through it. Man, we get labeled that all the time. Yeah, man, always going through that midlife crisis. Dude, we ain't the only one. We'll get into that, but hey, I know I'm a day late, dollar short. Brother was tired yesterday, man. I had it early yesterday, man. I said, I'm gonna just put something on the car. Man, I went over there, man. That Fat Sam, man, he had a buffet to get home, man. Then he had to borrow $2 from me. And I only had $3, man. And only left me with $1, man. I was hungry and tired, man. Man, you can't even get a honey bun no more for $1. Man, I tried to get me a Snickers, man. It was $1.17, man. I had to, can I borrow 17 cents? I was hungry, man. He said, man, big as you is, you can afford to miss a meal. I was like, man, that's messed up, cuz I wouldn't talk about you like that, man. But hey, we're just gonna have some fun. This is what it's about. This is what life is about. Hey, you're gonna do something that people are gonna look at you and say, that's so out of character. Because, you have puberty, and after you go through puberty, then you go through that time when you feel like you're turning 21, you feel like now you're a man or a woman, then you're turning 25, and then for women at 25, they start looking at their clock saying like, oh, I need to hurry up and get it's a raggedy road. Boy, y'all need to do something about these roads in Alabama, dude. I make your truck sound like you got a flat tire or something. But, and then as we get older, we start looking at the clock. It's like at a football game. Any football players out there, and even basketball. People know me. I know I suck at basketball, but I can relate to football. So, as a football player, in the first quarter, you're going out there and you're just trying to fill your opponent out. Seeing, which one of them, which side of the bed that joker that's across the line broke up on. And you filling them out. Second quarter, you looking at the score, and especially if it's a close game, you just be like, okay. But then you come back out that second half, and Joker take off, going to get up on you about like 2 touchdowns. Then you just look, man, this is the fourth quarter, cuz. And you just start sucking hind tit, man, because you like, man, I done wasted all this time. Let me tell you something. As long as you wake up on this side of the living, God still got a plan for you. Speaking of God, y'all know how we start the show off. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad within it. And I can do all things in Christ that strengthens me. the show. Look at me. I'm 50 years old. My worst birthday. I love my birthday. My birthday, I look forward to my birthday. I feel like I should celebrate, and the whole world should celebrate the whole month of October. When I got in the Army, niggas like, oh yeah, that's the beginning of the new year. I was like, I was meant to be a soldier. I was born on New Year's, beginning of the physical year. I mean, time when they just open up the bank and say, hey, here's a new budget. You have money to spend. Prior to that, in September, spend, so we can get a bigger budget next year, you know. So going into my birthday was always a good time if you was a non-commissioned officer, because you can go out and buy the stuff that you've been waiting for all year. You know, hey man, we can go out and buy toilet paper now. Oh cool. Hey, we can go out and buy cleaning supplies. We ain't got to clean with straight water. I'm telling you, back in the 80s, anybody that was in the Army back in the 80s, they'll tell you, dude, hey, it been some times, man, where you couldn't even buy cleaning supplies. Another story. But what I want to talk about is midlife crisis, because midlife crisis is it's kind of taboo. Nobody really want to talk about it. And then when they see it, it's that old uncle that's sleeping up in the attic. And then sometimes it gets so bad, it's that elephant, that pink elephant that's sitting in the corner of the room. Nobody can see it. You know, nobody have the nerves to go up to Uncle Fred or Aunt Lucy and say, come on, man. Come on, really? But now that I'm Uncle Fred, look like it ain't none of your business. Let's be real about it. It ain't none of your business. If I still have the health and strength to do what I do, I'm gonna do what makes me happy. You ask yourself, okay, well, what brings you to that? Some people, when they get there, it may be something like, look at me. I just brought a motorcycle. I had my motorcycle license for 10 years. Been wanting a motorcycle since me and my brothers used to share a moped back in the late 70s and early 80s. Always wanted to ride a motorcycle. So some people may say, oh, God, here you go. Well, hey, buckle up. Get started, cuz. You know, get started. I'm gonna do the things now, because I realize now that I'm at that point in my life, it's not that you going out doing things that's crazy. It's now, you realize it's the fourth quarter. Hey, we need touchdowns, cuz. We can't run our game plan no more. You know, as a football coach, I used to say, hey, we're gonna come out here and we're gonna place our will on our opponent, and we're gonna make our opponent adjust to us. We ain't gonna adjust to our opponent. So we're gonna come out here, and if we're a running team, we're gonna run the ball down their throat until they get tired of it. But in the fourth quarter, if you down, hey, a good coach a good coach will figure it out at halftime and say, well, hey, you know, I got to be man enough. I was wrong. So since I was wrong, we had to go adjust fire. And that's how midlife crises are. During a midlife crisis, it's not a crisis. It's reality. You know, like I said on my website, is it real or is it Memorex? This is definitely real, dude. This is something that we all gonna go through. And then when we go through it, you know, you can accept it that I'm not gonna let people dictate how I go through a certain point in my life. I'm gonna enjoy life. Certain things I wanna do, I'm looking for a place where I can do skydiving lessons. And, you know, why should I feel bad about that? You know, now there's some people out there that's doing some outlandish things. That's on that. I don't care. I don't care what Joe Snuffy do, because I ain't got no heaven nor hell to put them in, and I ain't paying their rent. You know, purpose of this show is to enhance. It's to enhance. So what I want to do is like, hey, let's talk about it. Hey, bro, I'm gonna give you an example. I had one of my partners to call me the other day, right? He's single, but he's been with his girl for probably about a year and a half now. And he called me the other day because he's just, I think he's 42, 43 years old, something like that. And he called me the other day and he said, Easy, let me tell you something, man, I messed up. And I was like, oh, dude, you got a girl pregnant? He's like, no, fool. I'm 40-some years old. I was like, oh, okay, well, that means you ain't mess up, dude. You killed somebody? No. You know, if you didn't start life and you ain't in life, that means you got a chance to fix it. You know. But if you started life or you ended life, that means now you're at the point where your life gonna change. Your life, I don't care who you are or what you are, at that point, your life changes. So he was like, nah, dude. He said, what happened is, you know, I was at work and this girl, me and her have been working together for like, you know, 5-6 years. He said when I was at the previous company, she was there, and when I left, we still stayed in touch. We stayed in touch, and I turned her on and got her hired on where I was at, Anyhow, get to the short version. They never really talked about, you know, getting intimate with each other. But then now, all of a sudden, the topic came up. And when the topic came up, he was like, dude, she told me she gonna do this, she gonna do that, she gonna do things that I only fantasize about. Yeah, that's what I told him. Dude, stop, man. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick, bro. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick. And women, don't bash me for this, because this goes for y'all too. Don't fall with, if a guy, let's just stick to his situation. I said, dude, only thing that is just like when you look at a commercial and the joker said, come here, you can buy this brand new Camaro for $19.99, you know, and walk out the door with $1 down. And I said, dude, that's feeder bait, man. You get there and they said, man, we only had that. We had 3 of them cars and you the 4th person to come in. Okay. And the same thing if somebody's trying to sell you on wolf tickets, that's not how you start a relationship. You know, that's just like, I said, that's just like you being a man and you going to a woman and you say, hey, babe, you know I pay your bills, and you struggling to pay yours. But to get in where you fit in, yeah, you tell them that. Yeah, girl, I got you, babe. Oh, you want me to pay your light bill? How much is it? Oh, it's $130. And you're like, man, my light bill $160. Maybe I can call them and get an extension. Because old girl gonna think I'm a baller, shot caller. So what happened? I said, nah, bruh, don't do it, man. He said, man, hey, that's easy for you to say, because you old. Dude, really? Really? I'm 50, dude. You 40-something. How is you know, it's just as hard for me. I've been with the same woman for 31 years. It's just as hard for me to say no as a guy that's out here single. You know, guys don't get approached. So it's hard for a guy to say no. It's hard for a guy to look past a smoke screen. It's hard for us to say, well, whoa, okay, yeah. What, you know, to look at a woman and say, okay, I got you. What's your motive? I mean, if you say you're gonna do all these things with me, you mean to tell me you and your boyfriend, your last boyfriend that you just left, y'all ain't do that? Yeah, but nah, let's keep it real. But you know, I can understand if you got into a relationship with a guy and then those things just came out, or even if a guy got into a relationship with a woman and all of a sudden he just like, hey, babe, you know, you've been cooking me dinner, you know, every night, every week. I come over here 4 or 5 times a week. You cook me dinner. Hey, you know, I ain't saying that you know I'm paying for services, but look, let me give you something to help you out. Now you know this guy's sincere. You know this guy is doing this out of the bottom of his heart. You know, but when we go through this thing, what society calls a crisis, it's really not a crisis. It's just something we all gonna go through. When we go through that, we have a tendency to feel like it's the fourth quarter. Let's take basketball for instance. Well, no, let's stick with the football metaphor. When a team is down, a bad coach will start throwing the bomb every time. A bad coach feel like the only play he can run is to throw the ball as far as he can. Oh, we run. We run out of time. Oh, throw the ball. Midlife crisis. Midlife crisis, we feel like every play is going to be our last chance in scoring. So every play we call is throw the ball downfield. Throw the ball downfield. You know, women, and I want to keep going. I don't want to just stick to men, and I want women to understand, because as I look back, I have an equal amount of men and women listening to this show. So women, it's the same thing with you. Don't look at this as a crisis. Look at this as a part of life, and look at it that like what it actually is. If they call it midlife crisis, take the crisis off and just say it's midlife. Say it's halftime. You can adjust fine, but you only lived half your life. You still got time to make more mistakes, do more stupid stuff, and continue to march. So it's no need to push the panic button. Come out, it's a new half, and say, okay, let's come out and let's run the ball. In other words, let's come out and let's test the lines and see what works. You know, if you're in a relationship with somebody, take true fact. Y'all can look it up. Y'all can Google search it. Y'all can easy search it. Easy, but you know, if you do research, you'll find out that nowadays there's more couples breaking up after 20 years than ever in history. Ever in history.
Keep left to I-20 East.
Because it's a simple fact. What happens is when they start going through that midlife crisis, it turns into a crisis, and we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't realize that the person I married when I was 19, man, she been gone a long time ago. And that joker she married when she was 20, been gone long time ago. Those two people ain't around no more. Those people done evolved, changed, or whatever you want to call it, years ago. And when you look and say, well, they can't change, cause I still love, well, yeah, I know my baby love me, but she love me in a different way. She don't love me like when that dude had hair, had waves going to the side. Y'all don't even, man, I used to have a part like right here. Like if you look at my web photo that I got on Facebook, you see, he had it going this way right here, faded real tight, and I was about 170 pounds. Man, I was so fine I used to want to kiss myself. Woo, that boy, hey, I was the bomb digger in my mind. But anyhow, but reality is those two people gone. So what happens now that those people I like, this is what I don't like. Then what happens is it opens the bag of worms, because now you're pushing the panic button and you're throwing the ball downfield, and the law of averages is gonna work eventually. Eventually you're gonna throw the ball downfield and somebody's gonna be there to catch it. Now, it may be the opposite team. You may throw an interception and it's going to go back the other way. And that's when, somebody's going to score, but when somebody scores, it's going to mess up the whole game. It's going to put you further back than where you was at before now. It's going to get like, oh man, I sit up here throwing hell, man, I done threw the ball to the other team. Now it's scored. In other words, you go out here and because what you're going through, you've been trying to talk to your wife or talk to your husband, because women leaving their husbands too. Women, it's women out there that, like, hey, I never felt so sexual in my life. Never. And now, my husband, he don't even look at me like that. But I can go out here, that little young boy that work in shipping. Every time that joker put on as we used to say, every time that joker put on a white beater, ooh, child, ooh. And the same thing with guys. A guy may be at the point where, like I was saying last week, it's not that we feeling that sexual for guys. I'm gonna put it out there. It's more that we feeling more inadequate. And when a guy starts feeling inadequate, that's when he had to reach out there and find something to validate. The people that struggle the most, that, in my opinion, the reason why the word midlife crisis came up is because of successful people that comes out of that environment. You take a person that was in the military, and I have a lot of military buddies. They did 20, 30 years in the military. The hardest time of my life was when I got out on. That was the hardest. I was raised in the projects. I was raised, like I said, Telehomes, Nest, McCoy, Turnkey 3. My grandparents, Gervais, cousins, Houston Moore, Hillcrest, you from Wilmington. You're like, hey man, you ain't miss none. Nah, all of them, And so, what happens is, all of a sudden, you feel like you're nobody. You went to being, like Tupac says, you go from being the big man on the block to, man, I'm telling you, man, that first year I was out, I'm looking for a job, put my resume everywhere. Man, I called some people, man, that I know that I've done a bazillion favors for. I called people who I knew that, like, hey man, these people are gonna always answer my phone calls. And like Lady Williams said, I knock on your door, but my knocks go and answer. And that's how it was. It was just to the point where all of a sudden, first on, phone ringing, all times of night, all times of day. Anything from privates all the way up to officers. Hey, Top, I have a problem. I need you to help me out with this problem. But then, all of a sudden, it's just cut off. And you say to yourself, like, oh man, that's messed up, but it never happened to me. But I tell y'all, there's going to be some spiritual times in here. But sometimes that's what the Lord wants us to go through. What the Lord wants us to do is depend on Him instead of depending on ourselves. And so what happens is now all of a sudden you see that, hey man, around for your identity. Because, and then it's not only the military. You know, when the economy made that downward turn. You know, think about all those people that were in corporate America, making big money. You know, having a corner office, having an office with a window. And then all of a sudden the trucking industry boomed because a lot of these jokers was coming out of offices and everything, and the only place they can go to come close to a comparable salary of what they was making in corporate America was driving trucks. Now all of a sudden you come out here and some 22, 23-year-old kid telling you, hey, hurry up. No, you can't park there. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. And then all of a sudden you say, man, what do I do? Then you turn that, you start, like I said, you start going Hail Mary. And then mistakes start happening. You know, because you went away from your game plan. Instead of sticking with your game plan on, you know, let me rephrase that. A lot of people say, continue to do the things that got you here. That's just like going on a deployment. You going on a deployment, what got you there? Car, plane, train, ship. You back in the car again. Y'all think I'm joking. But during the deployment, you're gonna leave your house and you're gonna go to Green Ramp. You're gonna get a Green Ramp, you're gonna get on a plane. You're gonna fly over to wherever, and then you're either gonna get on a helicopter or you're gonna get on a bus to take you to your processing place. And then once you finish your processing, then you're gonna go down to the port, get your vehicles. So, in other words, you can't continue to count on just one mode. As life change, time change, you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to look and say, well, okay, I'm getting older now. You know, I can't continue, I can't continue like Mike Vick. I don't care what nobody said, that still was the baddest quarterback ever to play the game because he changed the game. And that's how you can tell just how good somebody is. If they make the game change, that's what makes them extraordinary. Yeah, he messed up and like some people say he didn't have the work ethic, it was still raw talent, it wasn't nobody better. I think he was the first quarterback to rush for 1,000. But anyhow, the same thing with life. The same thing with life. What you gotta do when this so-called crisis come up, face the head up. Look at it right in the eyes and say, well, hey man, there's some things I'm gonna go through. And baby, you're just gonna have to understand. Husband and wife alike. The reason I see couples is breaking up because when you get ready to go through that midlife crisis situation, man and woman married for 15 years. They got married late in age. He's 45. She was like 42. All of a sudden, she came home one day and said, hey, I ain't trying to be rude, but here's the divorce papers. You got 30 days to get out. Girl, you tripping. Nah, seriously. You got 30 days to get out, find your place. And she just so happened to be making more money than him. She said, after you get out, after you find a place, I'll help you for the first 90 days. They never had kids together, but they had kids. The kids was out of the house. And, this guy, and I don't want to get too deep in it because y'all might know this guy. But this guy, he was telling me, he was like, dude, I was done, son. I didn't know, hey, where do I go from here? What do I do? I'm like, dude, I ain't, it's usually us that pop smoke. And this before I had time to really, have this time on the road and have to listen to like the greatest mentor anybody can have. You don't know he's my mentor, but he is Bishop T.D. Jakes. He keeps my mind right. He's kind of like my life coach. I would say, man, forget her, man. Go out. But the new me, if I would have had a chance to tell him now, I'm like, hey, dude, this is what you need to do. Tell her like, hey, nah, I got 30 days. I got 30 days for us to figure out why you leave. People, a lot of people are gonna hate me for this, but I don't care. I tell people all the time, monogamy is a myth. And they said, dude, you've been married for 31 years. How can you say monogamy is a myth? You're case in point that it's not. The case in point is if you realize that the only reason why she left him, get to the end of the story because we over our 30 minutes. The reason why she left him is because she met somebody she thought she was in love with. This happened probably about 4 or 5 years ago. They've been back together for 2 years. They've been back together for 2 years because what she thought she wanted is not what she wanted. A lot of times we as humans, we want everything that we can't have. We want everything that we can't have. If something's placed right in front of us, we don't want it. And that's what starts midlife crisis, is because we feel like it's the end of the game. So I know I said this 1,000 times. We feel like this is the end of the game, so we push the panic button. So now we feel like everything that I was afraid to do, everything I couldn't have, you know what? I may die today or tomorrow, I'm going to get